Good evening, aviators. Thank you so much for tuning in on this week's podcast, and welcome back to my channel. If you have not done so already, please like and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram and Facebook as well, and make sure to tune into my website, jetaviator.com, for more content. That is my blog. So this week, I was reluctant and able to post on Instagram and Facebook what kind of topics I should do for this week's podcast, and there was like a couple top two choices, and I just kind of picked one that I thought was cool. So we're going to take a little break from aviation today, and we're going to talk about some of my hobbies or interests, so kind of more along the lines of get to know me type of thing, but in the long run, I just want to kind of connect a little bit more with each one of you, and please in the comments section, tell me some of your favorite hobbies, because I'm also curious. There's some pretty cool things out there, and I'm always looking for more ideas or ways to be more creative. So the first hobby I really want to put a huge emphasis on is gardening. Ever since I was young, I've loved being outside, and outside just provided such a connection and a solace that I haven't been able to find anywhere else. And so gardening was really, really fun to me. And it's really just a way for me to celebrate my creativity. And it's a way that I express myself, and that it's a way that I connect with nature and find more cool things about the earth. So I do a lot of vegetable gardening. I personally love vegetable gardening so much because of the benefits that you're able to reap from it. So I have never really seen something so amazing happen in my life. A seed starting from a tiny seed and growing into a huge plant and producing fruit and vegetables and all of these delicious things that we get to eat and put nutrients into our bodies. So some of the things I like to grow, I guess I'll just share those. Probably my top favorite is peppers, any kind of peppers, jalapeno, bell peppers, habanero peppers. I haven't really grown habanero peppers, but it's been on my bucket list for a long time of just plants to try. But I mean, Anaheim peppers, any kind of pepper is really fun to grow. If you have it in the right environment, in the right soil, make sure that you have your soil amended properly, then the peppers are going to turn out so good and so juicy, and there's nothing like picking a fresh pepper and eating it. And the jalapenos oftentimes get turned into like salsas or a chili verde, which is so good. One of my favorite meals on this entire planet. But peppers are super fun, especially when you start to notice the blooms and the bees kind of buzzing and pollinating them. And then it goes from a tiny bloom to a huge pepper. It's pretty amazing. There's nothing like it. And then using those same seeds to grow new plants for the next season, it's pretty amazing if you ask me. So another plant I like to grow, like not necessarily eat, is garlic. It's not my favorite plant to eat, but hey, if it's incorporated into something and I can't taste it, then it's okay. But garlic. So what's so fascinating about garlic? Garlic really, it seems like an intimidating plant to grow, because if you read about it, they'll say to essentially plant the bulbs in the ground. You'll kind of separate out, they call them cloves, so you'll separate the bulbs out into the cloves, and you'll plant the cloves in the ground, and you'll cover them up, and they'll lay dormant over the winter. It's pretty interesting, because they have the same concept as a daffodil, and when they first start popping up, they look like a daffodil. And I feel as if I was growing daffodils next to my garlic, there would be a little bit of confusion going on looking at it from afar. But in the long run, garlic is pretty cool. And so when it starts to pop up, it'll get huge. Like, they get tall. And then when it's time to harvest, you have a full bulb of cloves. And to be honest, it smells pretty interesting because it actually smells like garlic. If you walk by and the wind is just right, it's really weird, to be honest. But I also, as far as fruit goes, apple trees are definitely a must-have. When I get a yard, in my dream of 50 acres just of gardening, it's going to be apple trees are a must. Because there's nothing like picking a fresh apple on a nice, sunny, more so fall afternoon. Because it just tastes so good. And plus you have the reward of maintaining the trees, which really isn't that hard if you think about it. Maintaining a garden, period, isn't that hard. But in the long run, just tasting the Granny Smith apples, those are probably my favorite ones to eat in the fall, because you can eat them with caramel, and it is so decadently delicious that it's amazing. So I remember when I was younger going to the supermarket and picking up bags of carrots. And I've always loved carrots. I've always liked them as a snack. Still to this day, I will buy bundles of carrots to just eat plain. I'll just wash them off. And these are not the baby carrots, okay? Those are gross, honestly. But if you want, I get the whole carrots and I'll just wash them off. I won't even peel them. I'll just eat them. Most people think that's disgusting. But to be honest, the peel has a lot of nutrients, and I need those nutrients. But so I remember when I was younger, I would get carrots from the store and I would eat them and I wouldn't stop. But they would have some sort of flavor to them. They would taste really good. They would taste good chopped up in a salad or just plain. But the first time that I truly tried a homegrown carrot fresh out of the ground was such an angelic moment that I can't even put it into words. There was so much flavor, and the snap and it was just amazing. And I still remember, this was crazy. This was probably disgusting to you guys, but honestly, it's pretty good. I don't know, this might scare people, but anyways, so I still remember picking the carrots out of the garden, and they would get dirt on them. So I would wash off the dirt the best I could, but there would still be the occasional speck of dirt hiding in the crevice of the carrot. But I would take a bite out and it would taste so good. It was so earthy, and it felt like, I don't know, I was on a trip to heaven or something. That sounds really dumb. But in the long run, gardening is, when you grow something at home, it has so much more flavor than the store. And I've come to find out that if you put work into something, there's way more reward. Sure, we work for money to purchase food, but if you actually grow it yourself and work to pay for the water and work to water it as well, then to me, I don't know, it just tastes better. It feels better to eat. It is healthier, scientifically proven healthier, but there's just something so wonderful about starting something from seed and growing and, sprouting, in scientific terms, germinating, and then taking it from 0 to 1,000%. And I think that's just wonderful. But those are just a few of my plants, a few of the plants that I enjoy to grow. It changes a lot, but I also love Canada crookneck squash. That squash tastes so good with a little bit of salt and pepper cubed in the oven. And it's fantastic. It's phenomenal. But I also wanted to share some of my indoor gardening, some of my favorite indoor gardening plants. But I believe I have about 70 total, 70 plus house plants between Cedar City and Salt Lake, my hometown. And a lot of them I've had for a long time. So the ones I have in Cedar are new. Most of them are newer because I purchased them just so I could have a little bit of, greenery, because that was one thing that I really missed about home, was the fact that, I didn't have any plants down here. I had only brought, 2? That wasn't satisfying the cravings at all. But my favorite indoor plants are definitely succulents. I love succulents because they're just so challenging to grow. A lot of people say that they're easy, but in my opinion, they're pretty challenging to pick up on a watering cycle and when to water them. But I have this cactus, and I've had it for, I think we're going on 2 years now. And that plant, it is sharp. I've gotten poked by it like a handful of times. And wow, it hurts. It's painful. But it's so resilient. It's so resilient to change, so resilient to water, droughts. But I love aloe vera because aloe vera is like a dual purpose in my mind. So like aloe vera can be used for sunburns, cuts and scrapes and bruises, whatever you want. But to me, aloe vera is also very I don't know. It's a nice plant to grow just because of how hardy it is. And I mean, it is a succulent. I said succulents were hard to grow, but this aloe vera, I must say, is the easiest. It's just so nice, and the leaves get so big. I think I have a total of 7 aloe veras, but I love them. Bamboo is also another one that I love just because of how calming it is, and it has the connection to meditation and unlocking inner peace. And that's something that I really, really love myself. And the bamboo tells a story. If you buy the lucky bamboo, each of them say, this is what this represents. This is what your little charm represents. And it's pretty cool to get a collection of charms and claim they're my lucky charms. But no pun intended. Anyways, continuing on. Since I love all things outside, and I mentioned that, camping. Camping is so fun. I have been all over. I've been all over Utah camping. My favorite place to go is, I don't have a favorite place. It's complicated, but I love Mirror Lake just because I've had so many memories there with so many family members and people. It's definitely the spot in my opinion. And if you love fishing and you're in Utah, please go to Mirror Lake, but please also preserve that place, please, because it is just so beautiful. Anywhere in the Uintas, please sign me up. I'll go right now. I love camping. Tent camping, trailer camping, that's whatever. And honestly, something that a lot of people don't actually know about me, besides the fact that, I do, in fact, for reals, drive a manual car. And, I mean, it's a lot of fun and I enjoy it. I will never get an automatic car. But a lot of people don't know that I ride dirt bikes. I ride the trails. I love riding dirt bikes. And for that, I've been to the Salt Flats, I've been to Knowles, I've been to Vernon, I've been to what we call 12 Mile Canyon. It's over in the Gunnison area. I mean, I've ridden a lot, but there's just something so nice about just, setting foot on the trails and seeing what you can do, challenging what you can and can't do, going somewhere where you haven't before. And that's why I really like trail riding, because the scenery is never the same. And you can never get bored of riding in the mountains, you can never get bored of riding the same trail over and over, but you can definitely get bored riding the same motocross track a lot. I prefer trail riding. The motocross tracks are not fun, in my opinion. But that's just me. But I do ride a dirt bike. It's so much fun. I love it. Honda 125. And it's white and red, the same color as the Cirrus that I fly, which is kind of ironic and funny. But, I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool. So another thing I love to do is go hiking and go walking. So since I mentioned that I find solace in nature, my heart has a special place in nature. That's where I go when I need a mental, physical break. As a college student, it is tough to find, places to go, things to do. And the best thing that you can do to heal yourself mentally and physically from anything is go outside and take a long walk. Whether or not it's in the rain or just plain, just playing around up and down the street, just walking. Or, clear skies for miles. It doesn't matter. Just go out and walk. Getting out in nature is something that I've always loved. Typically, I'll try to stay I'll do 3+ miles a day. I try to walk for 3+ miles a day just to stay somewhat fit and in check. But I definitely enjoy being outside, and I do whatever I can to stay and maintain peace outside in nature. But while I'm going on nature walks, which kind of coincides together, is the fact that I love photography. Because that photo that you took yesterday captures that moment that you were in yesterday. And in my opinion, taking photos, having photos is way more important than allowing yourself to accrue material things, because you're not going to remember those material things 15, 20 years down the road, right? But you can pull out a photo album, photo book from 25 years ago and go, wow, I remember that. I remember that trip. I remember that time when I broke my arms. I remember that time when those happy, embarrassing moments roll around. But the point is you can remember anything through a photo. And nature walks are the place to take photos. You'll find mushrooms, you'll find flowers, you'll find trees, new plants, ferns. Even just around campus, you got roses, you've got purple flowers, yellow flowers, orange flowers, green leaves, all of these amazing plants here. But another awesome kind of thing I wanted to share was my hobby of weather. Honestly, I used to not care much about the weather, but this comes hand in hand with being a pilot. And if you go into aviation, you'll find out that a pilot is not a pilot. A pilot is made up of a meteorologist, a navigator, and the list goes on and on. A doctor, a lawyer, the list is endless. Every single career put together into one. A mechanic. You see where I'm going. But tracking weather and just observing cloud spotting it's so much fun. Cloud spotting and plane spotting, those are definitely those are hobbies. But I thoroughly enjoy every single time I am out watching the weather or looking at METARs, looking at TAFs, doing some observations, being like, oh, I think this cloud is gonna be here in about 20 minutes, or it's gonna rain, it's gonna snow. It's just really fun to just kind of predict and play around with some weather. But I'm curious to hear what you guys love to do, because I'm not only sharing my experiences in my life with you guys, like a journal. I'm curious as to what you guys like. What maybe this could help me tailor some content towards specific individuals who may be interested in other things, instead of just doing the same old aviation over and over, even though that's the intention. But I'm just curious as to what everybody else likes. So, just some random get to know me stuff. My favorite colors are purple, blue, and black. I love those colors. They go beautiful together. But recently the color red has been growing on me a little bit. I got a red phone case now. It's nice. It's a nice color. Think that would look nice on a red and black plane, solid red and black plane. Black pinstripe or something, but it's interesting to see what happens when time progresses. My favorite place to be in nature, obviously, but is probably in the sky. I love it up there. No matter how hot it is or how cold it is outside, I love being in the sky. And I still remember when I was younger, I would also have I also had a love for the sky. And swinging on the swing outside, as usual. But in the long run, just a few updates before I end this. It'll be a shorter podcast this week. Next week will be a longer podcast. I have a few ideas, and it'll just be kind of like a mix of things. But happy June. It is June, and I cannot believe it. I am well into Instrument Flight Lab, and I'm very happy with my progress and my achievement towards what I want to be and who I want to be. So with that being said, I will keep you guys in the loop about everything that is happening. I will be kind of quiet on putting out. I accidentally missed this past week's blog post. So blog posts will resume this week. I just got a little bit too busy. I had a lot of ground and I had a lot of flying going on, as well as coursework to complete. So blog posts will resume normally every Friday this week. And podcasts are still remaining every Sunday, and they will not stop. But I was wondering how much, or would you guys like to see aviation explained? So what I mean by this is a topic, lift. How does lift work? Or what is weight and balance, and why is it important? So just topics like those that are easy to explain. And I can explain the hard things super well, but I just want to keep it simple for beginners in aviation who are interested, who want to know how lift works, or who want to know why weight and balance is important, or even, you know, I mean, it could be anything. But anywho, I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm probably going to end this podcast here, but please stay tuned in on Instagram and Facebook. If you have not signed up for the newsletters, please do that now. There is a link if you go to jettaviator.com, JETTAV, number 8, and then R.com. There will be a tab that says newsletter or connect. I believe I have it as connect. Click on that, or contact. Click on that, and it'll say sign up for the newsletter, and just put your information in there. Keep it basic, keep it simple, and it'll get you added to the newsletter list. I send these out about every 1 to 2 weeks. It's projected around 2 weeks, like every other week right now, just because of how busy I am. But that is also where I talk even more about aviation, even more into my journey. So please sign up for those. I highly encourage it, especially if you don't have Instagram or Facebook. I still put pretty much the same content in both, but please follow me on all 3 if you can, and YouTube. But stay tuned for more. I have tons of updates, tons of awesome things coming out, and a little bit of a project that I've been working on. So anywho, I hope you all are doing well, and I will see you on the next podcast.